So today I'm going to be taking a look at the Cima 1 Jungle Survival Knife. This is it. And this ferro rod, this does not come with the knife, just so you know. I put that on there myself. And it also comes with a, I'd say about 7-inch piece of paracord and a little squeeze thing to adjust it. I took that off. I don't see the point of that, but yeah. Today we're going to take a look at the Cima 1 knife, and if you're looking for a good budget knife, I have a feeling this is going to be one that you really want to pay attention to, so let's check it out. So first thing we're going to do is take a look at the sheath. Now the sheath is ABS molded plastic. It's not Kydex. It's basically the same thing as if you get a knife from Cold Steel and they have the Securex sheath. This is the same material. It's just a molded plastic. You got the eyelets in here, and you got this big metal clip on the back. It's secured with 4 screws, and it is a heavy-duty metal clip, but it does hold the knife quite well. As I said, this ferro rod is just something I added to this because I like to have it around. I plan on carrying this knife a lot, so always nice to have a good fire rod or a ferro rod. And I'm going to take that off for a second. Now, the sheath, it holds it in there incredibly well. It ain't going anywhere. It does have a lot of rattle to it, but a lot of these molded plastic sheaths do. And if you have like a heat gun or something, you could probably heat this up and mold it a little better, and then it won't rattle. Or maybe just heat this part up and squeeze that nice and tight. And it's got this little slanted part right here. Just push that with your thumb and the knife comes right out. Now, a lot of people have a problem with this metal clip. Me personally, I don't see it as a big issue. It is a little extra metal here on the sides. I think I might grind some of that down a little because it is a little too much metal. But, I mean, it's nice. It's better than a nylon sheath, that's for damn sure. And you know, you're only paying probably $20-some for this knife, and this sheath is actually really nice. The clip, I can make do with it. It's better than a plastic one that's going to snap right away. There are things you can do to make this clip better or replace it, whatever, but for my purposes, it's going to do just fine. And you can see on the sheath here, I don't know if that's going to show up well. It says Cima, the Jungle Survival Knife. I don't know why it's a jungle survival knife. I've never been to a jungle in my life and don't plan to ever go to one. But whatever. That's just the name of the knife. And I think adding a ferro rod on it is a great idea. And basically all I did was I took a piece of plastic and I heated it up and I rolled it around the ferro rod. And then I put some electrical tape on it so it matches. And then I put a few strips off and wrapped that strip up with more electrical tape and put a hole to it and just put it in that screw and then kind of melted it all together. This is not going anywhere. The ferro rod's not coming out. So just an interesting little ghetto mod for it, I guess you could call. I kind of jerry-rigged that together in 5 minutes, but that's nice to have. And overall, the sheath is pretty nice. So now let's take a look at the knife itself. So this is the knife right here. And yes, I am very aware that it is a clone of like an SE3 or Ontario Rat. We'll put that aside because I am not going to try to compare a $20-something knife to a $200 plus knife. Now, as I said, this is a 20-something knife. Sometimes the price goes up and it's anywhere from $50 to $60. In my opinion, it's still probably worth it. But if you're going to buy this knife, and so far, so good, I recommend it. I'll tell you by the end of this video, but if you buy this knife, wait for the price to go down a little. It usually goes anywhere from between $20 to $30. And for that price, you just can't beat this. The thickness of it, I think it's 5/32. It's a pretty beefy knife, and it's got some weight to it. I don't remember the length of the blade. I think it's 3 and something inches. I don't remember offhand. If I remember in editing, I'll put it in. If not, I'm sorry. There's a lot of videos on here where you can see the specs. It's not really something that I can remember too easy, but we'll see if I remember to put it in. And anyways, it's a full tang. Now, it doesn't have anything to stop your hand here if you're using it for chopping, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. It does have the lanyard hole here. I never use lanyards. I don't like them. But having this exposed tang right here, if you have to bash rocks or something with it, or an enemy's head, it'll do quite nice for that. This knife is 7CR 17 MOV, and it says that right there on the blade. Now, for those unfamiliar with this steel, because I know it's kind of a mystery steel, basically what this is, and if I remember correctly, sorry if I'm wrong, but it's basically a modified 440 stainless with extra vanadium. I think I'm saying that right. And what that means is it gives the knife extra strength. It makes it take a better edge and makes it hold the edge for a longer amount of time. And that's great. I've had some good luck with 440 stainless, and this should be even better. Normally, I'm not a big fan of black coatings on a knife, but whatever, it's going to come off pretty quick. This is made in China, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that, but that's okay. It's a cheap knife. It's made in China. Don't let that throw you off from buying the knife. I've said it before, China is really stepping the game up as far as making cheaper knives, and not all cheap knives suck. So this one is definitely worth taking a look at. And if you haven't noticed yet, it's got flax micarta hand scales. Where else are you going to see a knife for the $20 to $30 range with micarta hand scales on it? That's a very nice touch. And you add this sheath with it, this is a great value knife. It's thick, it's beefy, it's heavy, it's super sharp. I have not touched this edge at all with the sharpener. It's still the factory edge, and this thing came hair shaving sharp. So that's another plus. And so far, just from handling it and looking at it, I definitely say it's a great value. But now, I'm going to put it through a few little tests here. Nothing too crazy because it's extremely cold out here, but we'll see how good it really is. So the first test I'm going to do is I'm going to see how well it works with a ferro rod. Now, this is stainless steel. A lot of people say only carbon steel can strike a ferro rod. That is not true. Any steel with a 90-degree spine is going to do it. And some people also say if it's got a black coating, it won't strike it. That is also not true. And this does have a very nice 90-degree edge, so we're going to test it out right here. I don't know how well that showed up on camera for you guys, but this was throwing off a lot of sparks, and it was working quite well. So, as far as using it for a ferro rod, it works really well for that. So now let's try something a little different. All right, so I have this piece of wood right here, and it's just something I had laying around. I'm going to see if I can maybe do some feather sticking with this. This wood really sucks. I wish I had an actual stick. I am getting some pretty nice thin curls. This wood is just really hard to work with. But now let's try some batoning. So I'm gonna use a mallet because that's all I really got. I'm not gonna use the hammer part, I'm gonna use the handle. And I'm gonna baton to this piece of wood that I was just cutting up. That was easy. Let's try something a little tougher than that. Let's see if I can baton to this big old piece of wood. Nope, this ain't gonna happen. This knife's too short for this. And I don't know what kind of wood this is, but it ain't going through too well, so let me try one more of these. For this stuff, for small things, it works really well. For that giant board, it's just not going to happen. Now, when I was trying to feather stick it, or trying to make a feather stick, the geometry of this blade takes a little getting used to, so that might have been something I was doing wrong. But this wood is kind of shit. I don't have any actual wood here, like sticks and stuff. I just got this kind of stuff. But I forgot to mention that the finger choil on here, if you choke up, it really looks like it'll bite your finger right there, but it ain't bad. It feels pretty comfortable, and the jimping is a bit aggressive, but it's not too bad. And as far as sharpness and carving, this is extremely sharp. It's just biting right in, taking massive chunks out of this. And if you were using this to make like a spear or traps or whatever the situation may be, it's going to do it very well. Now, if I took the time and was really slow and just methodical and took my time, like I said, I can get some really nice curls on here. It does do it. You just really have to get used to the geometry of this knife. Now, the big piece of wood I used had some blue paint on it, so I don't know if you can see that, but unfortunately, I got some blue paint on this blade now. But that's okay. That's going to come off eventually. This black coating, it's all going to get wore out and come off. So I'm not too concerned about it. And for everything I tried to do with this knife, it did it well. I mean, I tried to baton a fucking 2x4, and that didn't work, but it's not a huge knife, so that was a little difficult. But batoning small stuff, no problem. If I had small logs, I'm sure it'd be no problem. If I get used to this edge geometry a little bit more, no problem feather sticking, and if I just hold it and do it really slow and easy, it'll do it just fine. I mean, you saw the stick, you saw the feathers, the curls on it. It can do it. It's very sharp, very tough. I actually did hit this with the hammer head when I was trying to get to that big 2x4 or whatever it is. It's not dented, it's not chipped. The edge is absolutely perfect on it. I don't know if you can see that. There's not a single chip, a roll, or anything. It still feels extremely sharp. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but yeah, probably not. There's my hair. So it's still shaving sharp. And now I have another bald spot on my arm. But any knife guys out there know how that goes. They're always going to have bald spots from testing knives. So in the end, for like anywhere from $20 to $30, I think I got this for 26 bucks. Fantastic knife. This may be one of the best budget knives that you can get. It's super tough. It's super durable. It takes and holds a great edge. I love the micarta handles. It feels really good. It's comfortable in my hand. It's got some weight to it, but it's not overly heavy. It's thick. It's beefy. It's got a great sheath. Works well with a ferro rod. The clip is kind of but that's okay. It does have some rattle in here, but any knife that has a ABS plastic sheath usually does have rattle to it, so that's not a big deal. It's about 7 inches of paracord that was on here to begin with. I saw no purpose for that. I threw that away. One nice thing, and I never know if this is going to show up, but there's a little hole right here in the bottom of the sheath. That's really nice because if you're out in the rain and the water gets in here, it will leak out of that. So always a plus. All things considering, for a cheap budget knife made in China, this thing is well made, works extremely well, and I really like it. I can't sing its praises enough. And I've seen some pretty big YouTubers that are real big knife snobs. You know how that goes. And even they took this knife and, oh, look at this cheap Chinese knockoff of an SE3. I'm going to beat the crap out of it and it's going to suck. And by the end of the video, even they were singing its praises. So, all in all, it's a great knife. This may be the best budget knife I've ever bought. And I'm going to carry this around with me a lot. I'm going to beat on it. And if I ever get to the point where I do break it, I'm only out $20-something, not $200 plus. So you can't go wrong with this knife. So if you're looking for a great, tough, bushcraft, camp knife, anything like that, survival knife, hunting knife, whatever it may be, check out the Cima 1 jungle survival knife. It's not going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to handle everything you throw at it, and it's going to do it very well. And you're going to be very happy with it because it's just a great knife. I could keep going on and on and on and on about how much I like this knife, but in the end, I say buy it. And I don't say that just because I like it. I don't say that just because, it's a cheap knife. And I'm definitely not sponsored by anybody. I say buy it because it really is one of the best budget knives you're going to ever use. So that's pretty much it. Sorry if I kind of said the same things over and over. I got a whole lot on my mind, and we'll get to that another day. Now is not the time. But I'm going to end the video here. So make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, and anything else you want to add, let me know in the comments down below.